It should start now. Any second now. Right. Hey guys, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics here, back today with a little bit of a preview between Warriors and Canberra Raiders. It all starts on Friday night, the 27th of August. And joining me are two special guests here, and they'll introduce themselves. I'll let them introduce themselves. Firstly, on my right is Keith Whitelock. Hello, and welcome to the channel. And do you guys know who Keith is, and let me know what you do.
Yeah, despite the last name not actually related to the All Blacks brothers, I've been a Warriors fan. I actually went off the game for a while there in the early 2000s. I used to be a Magpies fan back in the day, but then I found myself tuning in to watch Ali Lauatiti and obviously Stacey Jones, Owen Guttenbill, Henry Farfili, those kind of played, Kevin Campion. And then I slowly found myself just tuning into every Warriors game, and now I'm just absolutely obsessed. My wife hates when I watch the Warriors game. I founded a website with my brother about 6 to 8 years ago now, called Everything Rugby League as well. I don't know if anyone follows that on Facebook. These days, I've taken a step back from that. That's the good work of Adam and Chris these days. I'm just doing my weekly International Rugby League column, and that's my passion, International Rugby League. I know it's obviously quite a lot smaller than the NRL presence, but that's a bit about me. I don't want to take up too much of time, but that's it.
So as well as that's great to hear, and I do follow your page there on Facebook there, but go give their page a follow if you guys haven't already. It's Everything Rugby League, is that right?
Correct.
Yep. So go give them a follow and check out their content as well. And you run a International Rugby League website, is that right too?
Yeah, so as I said, that's my passion. My articles are on International Rugby League primarily. It's not too much NRL. NRL's got a lot of saturation in terms of content and IP and everything like that. It's a bit easier to write about, even the Super League, and what's happening on the ground in places like Greece and, Norway, for example. So, once a week I write up a column, and obviously I was a little disheartened. I'm sure Lou can sort of shed some light on the World Cup if we want to go down that path. That being postponed was a little bit disheartening. Lou's over there in England, but as I said, once a week. That's my column on everythingrugbyleague.com.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks. Thanks for sharing your story there. And another fan has joined us as well. Apparently, he's a massive Canberra Raiders fan, and that's is it Louise, or how you say it? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it's Lewis. Thanks for having us on.
Introduce himself and.
Yeah, so I'm actually not from Canberra, so I think that's kind of where most people start, like why I go for the Raiders. And most people who grew up in the 90s watched the great teams, and I guess me being a 2-3-year-old loved Mal Meninga, Rick Stewart, Laura Daly, etc. And unfortunately, the Raiders haven't been anywhere near as good since, but I've just decided to stick with them. So 30 years now in the bank, following the Green Machine. Not as exciting in terms of off the rugby league side of things. I work in financial services, and I've moved to the UK. Pretty much been here on and off for the last decade. I was back in Sydney for a little bit, and that's where I met Keith. Been good mates with him. We have a rugby league chat basically every day, so it's good to have a platform to actually kind of discuss it for a bit. This weekend, I don't know how you guys feel, but Friday, but it kind of, I mean, from my perspective, and asking you guys, when the season's on the edge, do you still look forward to the season?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I think all Warriors fans are kind of. I don't know, when we win, it's kind of a feeling of relief rather than joy these days. Just because of our history, you know, every game that gets within 6 points with 20 minutes to go, you just know that we don't have a history of closing them out. And the same, I think, you can apply to the season as well. If we go within striking distance of the top 8, you just know we don't have a good track record. It's don't get me wrong, it is fun to still watch games, of course, but one day we're going to win a premiership, and that's going to be the biggest feeling of relief, more than joy. It's just been a painful experience being a Warriors fan, and I know that you know, every Warriors fans out there, Warriors NRL fanatics, and hold the ball, etc., can obviously empathise with that, but it's just painful.
Yeah, I know how it feels. You know, he's been supporting me ever since, you know, I was a kid. So he's been a fan for a long time. And you know, even though, you know, I've moved over to Australia, I've lived here for 9 years now. So you know, born in Auckland, but born in Auckland, New Zealand, but you know, I've been living here for 9 years. You know, it feels, you know, the highs and lows of Warriors fan. You know, keeps well. So yeah, look. Thanks, guys, for sharing your stories. You know, it's great to hear. It's great to have a platform for everyone to share their stories and come on and chat about footy. And you know, it's a big game Friday. Big game for not only for the Raiders, you know, as well as the Warriors. I know the Warriors last week. You know, I don't know what your perspective is. Lost Brisbane Broncos. You know, love to hear your before, you know, we preview for this week's game. But yeah, what do you think of it, the result?
Yeah, it was a pretty tough one to cop. I listened to your show last night, and anyone that's blaming Reece Walsh, you know, that's equivalent to blaming the ref. We need to get to a stage where we're better as a club, that we're not blaming refereeing decisions or goal kicking or anything, or even one game for not making the 8. You know, obviously it was a string of games that we lost by a small margin that cost us the 8. Oh, don't get me wrong, there's still a chance that we can make the 8. But it's a bit of a stretch. I wrote down here, we need to beat the Raiders on Friday. We need the Sharks to lose to Brisbane. That's a big one. I think that game is the biggest question mark for me. We need Newcastle to beat the Titans. That's a bit of a coin toss for me, that one. And then if all that happens and we're still mathematically in the 8, next week we need the Raiders to lose to the Roosters. Sorry, Lou, I think that's going to happen. Although you never know what Ricky's got in store. I need Cronulla. We need Cronulla to lose to Melbourne. I think that will happen. Dragons to lose to Souths. I think that will happen. And we need to meet the Gold Coast. So I'll give that about if I was a betting man, about a $20 payout to the $1 there. But yeah, to answer your question directly though, it was pretty tough to take, because I thought we had it towards the end there. We didn't really have too many standout players, bar Petahiku. Reece Walsh tried his heart out, and it's not always going to come along. I just hope that all this is for a 1 step backwards, 2 steps forwards, because I think it was Fonzie that said on his podcast, All This Warriors Life, it's all about cohesion. I think more than half of our team basically wouldn't have been around or been in our top 17 at the start of the year. So if you said we'll still be challenging for the 8 2 rounds out, I'll be reasonably happy with that. But at the same time, if we don't make the 8 next year off the back of these harsh learning curves, I'll be pretty disappointed. I honestly think that we're a well-balanced team. We're better than our position on the ladder. We're better than Brisbane, but we just haven't got it together. And it's another year where non-Warriors fans sort of laugh when you say that. And one day we're going to get them, my wife included. But it's pretty disheartening, to tell the truth.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, let's just get into it now. So Friday night, and what I'm going to do first is, I'm going to go through the team list and the key ins and outs for teams, as well as we're going to share our key players for the Raiders and Warriors. Then, we'll give a score prediction, get our score predictions, and anytime try scorers at the end. But first I'm going to go through the ins and outs for both the Warriors and the Raiders. Now, for the Canberra Raiders, Corey Horsburgh and Valame, as well as Savila Hub as well. Warriors ends, obviously, with Sean O'Sullivan's back. Chanel Harris-Tavita and Jackson Fryer all out. And for the Warriors as well, Kane Evans, Kona Karima, Matthew Lodge, the huge in for the Warriors, Matthew Lodge, and Rocco Berry as well. But those are the in teams. Raiders no outs, just the Warriors have got some outs and ins, and the Raiders have got a few ins. But to get into the team list, I'm going to go for the Warriors lineup first. Reece Walsh on the wing is Dylan Watini-Zalesniak. In the centres is Peter Hiku and Adam Pompey and Marcelo Montoya's on the wing. And into the halves this week, Sean drops. And Chad Townsend is replaced Chanel Harris-Tavita, the halfback role. Adam Fanua-Blake is in there. Wade Egan, the hooker, and Matthew Lodge is at the prop position with Josh Curran, the second row, with Ewan Aiken and Bailey Stearns, the 13. Onto the bench back, and Bunty Foa, Alto, and Jazz Tamunga is the 17. For the reserves, Jermaine Tanoa-Brown, Rocco Berry, Kane Evans, and Jack Murchie's the 22. Now, onto the Raiders lineup, Canberra Raiders lineup, and it's Tana at fullback. Bailey Simonson is on the with Sebastian Christen. Matthew Tomo, Ali Smith Shields is on the wing. Jack Whiten's in the halves with Matt Frawley, and Josh Papali's the prop. Then Josh Hodson's the hooker. Joseph Tatapane's the prop. Hudson Young is Elliot Whitehead, and Ryan Sutton's the lock. And then onto the bench is CNK, Emra Gula, and Corey Horsburgh's back into the Raiders lineup, and the 17 is Savili Harvili, and the reserves are Sam Williams, Dynamis Louis, Semi Valame, Trey Money. So that's the Raiders lineup, and that's the Warriors lineup. So what do you guys think of both lineups?
First, Keith?
Yeah, I think it's a balanced side for the Warriors. I think it's you want to stay as positive as you can, but it's hard to around Adam Pompey's experiment or Brownie's experiment with Pompey at centre. I know a few fans have had an issue with that, and look, he has improved, but it's obviously the Brownies thinking towards next year with Ewan Aitken in terms of placing him in the back row. But unless we get Berry back, and I can see Berry's in the reserves, God, the temptation must be there to play Aitken in the centres there and really steal up that defence, because Ricky's going to have some good set moves for us. And quite frankly, Pompey's not a centre; he's a winger. So that's my big concern. It's a toss of a coin between Chad Townsend and Sean O'Sullivan for me usually. However, given the fact that Chanel's out injured, that obviously takes the decision out of it. I'll be curious. There's quite similar players. I'd like to see Chad Townsend. I'd like to see more from him this week in terms of leadership. He's obviously been at the club in the past. He basically seems like an experienced Sean O'Sullivan to me. Sean O'Sullivan's prone to mistakes, and I know a lot of fans come back to that game against Newcastle where it wasn't pretty, to say the least. He seems to have come a long way since then. But yeah, I think our weaknesses are the centres and the halves. Although in saying that, Canberra don't have strong halves themselves, with the exception of Whiten. I think the forwards are very strong in my mind. I love Nikorima off the bench. In fact, I think that if he's still going to stay with us next year, which he's been making noises that he's agitating to leave, I think 14 is his position. And my understanding is he didn't want to play 14 at the Broncos, which is one of the reasons why he chose to leave. I'm sure there was many factors there, but the reality is, I guess, like Aitken, sometimes you just got to do what's best for the team. Although I do retract coming back to the fact that I think Aitken should be playing centre this weekend unless Berry lines up for us. I love Jazz. I love Katoa. Bunty's put in some okay performances without being outstanding. And Bailey Sirenen is Mr. Invisible to me. I'm sure he's a gun player, but for some reason, I never notice him every game. But I know nothing about the Canberra Raiders, so I'm sure Lou can take it from there and talk about their team.
Yeah, just on, I mean, to be honest, I only really watch a back end of Warriors games because you guys get the less glamorous time slots. So I actually think I woke up on Sunday and caught the last 20 minutes of your game. So can't really add too much on the Warriors other than obviously Reece Walsh being the man. Probably, I don't know how you guys feel, but the guy's in his first year, way too much responsibility in his shoulders, and he's kicking, he's having to take field goals, and pretty much, if you need a big play, you have to go to him. Probably not the, never the right sort of recipe for success. I can't recall a team that's ever won a comp doing that, but that's Brownie's prerogative. So for the Raiders, I think kind of piggybacking on you guys, I think our halves, it's just a bad situation, really. You've got don't know if you guys watched the Manly game, but Sammy Williams got hooked, not before he was getting run over by Olakau'atu constantly, and Sully, and that's where George Williams, he was an up and down player, but just a great defender. There's a positive to any Raider actually listening out there. I've actually got a few mates who are told to watch this thing. We're rumored to be going after Mitch Pearce, which if we actually had a Mitch Pearce in the lineup, I think we wouldn't be sitting at 10th. We'd be right up there pushing. But unfortunately, halfback is the key position in the team, and unfortunately, Whiten's he's trying his best, but just isn't really reaching those heights that he has over the previous 2 seasons. The other interesting thing, Rapana at fullback with CNK on the bench. Probably deep into this one. I think for me, Rapana has been like the standout player this season for a really disappointing year, but just his competitiveness and what he brings to the table. He's got that John Bateman vibe where winning at all costs. What I hope doesn't happen, but I feel like will. Sticky's going to bring CNK on. And again, if you guys watched last week's first touch, drop ball, like I'm a big fan of CNK, but there's no need to be bringing him on when Rapana's offering what he's offering. And that's kind of it. I think in terms of the edges, Whitehead and Hudson Young, they got outplayed by Olakau'atu and all the Manly guys last week. And I feel like this could be, I did watch the bits and pieces of the Warriors and Dogs game. Josh Curran, he seemed to be on fire, so that could be an issue for us. But apart from that, I do like the look of our backline. It's young, it's fast. Keith knows I'm not the biggest fan of Croker or Curtis Scott, so for them to not be there, and we've got now young blood coming in, that can only be good for us. So should be interesting. I'm kind of hoping that there's a guy there, Trey Mooney, on the extended bench. He's the star player of our SG ball team that won the comp. We desperately need those sort of players to come through because at the moment our back row is just getting outplayed. So that's it for me. I think one other thing actually, and Keith probably won't agree. Great to see the best utility player in the game, Sevilla Vili, back in the team. The type of meters that he's going to get against you guys, him and Jez Tavanga, it's going to be a battle. But
Geez, we produce some pocket rockets. Like, how do we produce, Carter, Harrell, Havili? The center of gravity on those blokes has to be, 2 foot off the ground, and that's their strength. Though that's what makes them hard to tackle. They're just all leg power, basically.
I'm telling you. No, I was just saying with now with Havili, I swear the last game he played, he did a brilliant hit up. Like, he must have done 3 great hit ups. And that rainbow cutout pass, like you remember that one. That was like one of the plays of the season. It was 30 meters. And then it was huge. And then Ricky said, no, you're going to be playing reserve grade again. And disappointing that I haven't been able to bring him up in any of our group chats, but he's back, and watch him be at least top 3. I feel like he's bound for a big match. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I really worried that the 2 former Warriors there. I'm just glad Charlie Gubb's not playing, make a comeback from Wendy's ads to come and burn us, because I get the feeling that that Havili and CNK are just going to have amazing games. That and also I worry about the coaches. I think Ricky's a premiership winning coach. Look, I'm a fan of Brownie. I've been suspect of his decisions this year, but I still hold the faith that, sure, I think he's got the long-term picture in mind, but you just know Sticky is made for these kind of games. These last 2 games, he's going to get the Raiders believing they're going into battle. It's almost going to be, that kind of warlike mentality that they're going to take. I just worry that are the Warriors going to be out enthused? And I really hope not. I hope that I'm proven wrong with my concerns, but you can just tell Canberra are going to come out knowing that their season's on the line and it's largely in their own hands, unlike us. I haven't seen this level of mathematical proficiency from NRL fans since crypto first boomed, trying to work out what teams need to finish where on for and against to try and make the 8. But Warriors need about 8 or 9 games to go their way, whereas basically Canberra just need to win there too. So Ricky's going to have them up. That's my big concern. I think they got it in the coaching ranks.
Yep. Yeah. Great thoughts. From you both. Yeah, but before getting into key players, for both of you, for key players from the Warriors and the Raiders, I'm just reading a few Raiders and Warriors ones. The Warriors have won 20-21 draws. Recent meetings. Now, obviously, this year we've already beat the Raiders, and that was a massive comeback, because down 20, but 21, 4 points to 20. And then the second meeting was back in 2020. That was another meeting past. So, the head-to-head suggests very close. It's very close at the moment in terms of Raiders winning 21, Warriors 20. But what are your thoughts? Who do you think are key players for the Raiders and the Warriors? I'll start with you, Keith, and then Louise can go.
It's Lewis, but it's easy to answer our big names, but some of our big names seem to be nullified by Canberra's big names. Like we could name Adam Fanua-Blake, for example, but we know that Josh Papali'i is the equivalent in class in terms of props. The 2 of the top props in the game, so they nullify each other. And then you sort of got, who's Matthew Lodge's match. And the closest thing I've got is Joe Tapani. And I'd kind of think Matty Lodge has more of an impact on the game, although Joe Tapani is probably more consistent. I think like Hiku to Sebastian Chris is probably nullifying each other as well. I think we got Walsh over Rapana. Maybe not. I think they're both all hard. I think Walsh over Rapana. And I think Curran over Hudson Young and even Ryan Sutton. So I'm going to go with Curran as my answer, because I think I like our bench, but in saying that, I like Canberra's bench. I like Havili and I like CNK. So Curran is where I think we've got it over them. Not to say that they don't have it over us in other positions, but I'll leave that to Lou.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit disappointed with the Raiders bench. Just seeing how we used it last week. Sticky basically smashed Papali'i and Tapane I don't know how long they're on for, but they had nothing left in the second run. And we've got a fullback and a utility player sat on the bench. So we've only got 2 forwards. Horsburgh's not really played first grade at all this year. Gore's been pretty good. I rate him, but our bench is a bit suspect, and I think that kind of probably correlates to some of our performances. We build double-digit leads and we get run down, and Sticky just probably needs to really work out how to use his bench more effectively. That's probably, I'm not too sure what Brownie does in terms of that, but looking at your bench, I do rate a follower, Katoa, and Jazz. I'm not too sure about Cody, but yeah, it's a stronger bench that the Warriors have got on us. And the halves, I think it depends what Jack Whiten shows up. Against Melbourne, I thought he was standout, setting up tries, and then game on the line, he doesn't kick it out in the full, and then his grubber goes out. So it's just kind of what Jack Whiten shows up, I think, will be the difference between the two sides, because to me, halves obviously win and lose games, but specifically Whiten, he's going to be the main difference, I think.
Yeah.
If he plays poorly, the Raiders are not going to do well. So is that?
I think the only equivalent class that we have to Whiten is Walsh, and who knows how he's going to react to last week's tough game. The knives have been out for the 19-year-old kid. You're right, Lou. It's way too much weight to put on a 19-year-old kid's shoulder. In fact, if it wasn't for the long-term benefit that he sort of learns the resilience to get over his goal-kicking woes last weekend, I'd almost prefer Chad Townsend kicking for us this weekend. But that's not really going to, get Walshy back on the saddle in that regard. So because of his poor performance, you kind of want to see Walsh get back on it. But in terms of the 2 game changes, you're 100% right. It's Walsh and Whiten. Hiku can do his thing out on the edge, and as I'm sure Rapana he can do his thing as well. But yeah, it's definitely Whiten and Walsh for me.
Yeah, there's a bloke, Matt Tomoko. I don't know if you guys, he's got the big green red headgear right now.
Yep.
I don't know why, but he's had to wait his time. Curtis Scott and Croker have been in the centres last year and a half, and they're both out or no longer with the club. And I think Tomoko for me he's the real deal. He's got it all. I've read reports that his reserve grade performances have been pretty substandard, but whenever he plays first grade, and he played a handful, this guy can play. You see no weaknesses. He just runs over people, smashes people in defense, and then that flick ball did the other day was just magic. So
that was special.
I think him and Harley Smith Shields, I hope that they kind of put their foot down and stay in the first grade. But I think we've left it a little bit too late to bring these guys in, because before the start of this year, we had a very experienced backline in terms of Croker, Rapana, Curtis Scott, kind of escapes me who else was on. Oh, and obviously Chance. And now we've gone the opposite way of blooding these youngsters in. I kind of feel like, and this probably applies to Reece Walsh as well, like your opinion on this, where you want to introduce these youngsters in sort of a reasonable team. You don't want them to be the focal point. And, right now we're relying on Tomoko and Chris to pretty much score our points and they've not really proven they can do it, as opposed to some of the bigger teams around. When you look at the Storm, they can just slot someone in because everyone else is going gun. But yeah, I think ultimately Whiten, Tomoko, they're my 2 guys I'm looking forward to put points on the board. Nico Klokstad, or apologies, I can't pronounce his surname, but I'm not sure. Klokstad, I'm not too sure of his future with the Raiders. I think I was a big fan of him, and then now that we've got Savage coming through,
that kid Savage, I'm so happy he's not playing this weekend, because he is Reece Walsh for Canberra. Those 2 kids are Kalen Ponga-esque. Both of them.
That Queensland, his schoolboy highlights package, where he looks like he's just so much faster than everyone else. And then I think it was a Sharks game where he finally got the ball in a bit of space, and it was just magic. And he's got that X factor. Clearly a talented player. And it was a shame he got injured because I think that's when our season ultimately turned around. Before that, we were getting pumped by 50 points. He comes in, all of a sudden we're competitive. All of a sudden the boys are, actually trying to play. And now with him in, I mean, obviously he's out, but Rapana's kind of kept that up. He's kind of got that, again, that willingness to do the tough things. But again, Nico Cookstad off the bench. Last week we brought him on, changed the game. I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like either he plays fullback and kills it, or we need to get rid of him or put him on the wing or something. I'm not too sure.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So for me, for the key player for the Raiders, I've gone with Jack Whiten. Jack Whiten as well, and I think he's always an important player. I believe it's his best season. Last year he won the Dally M. Yes, it might have been a bit of a controversial one because the likes of Clinton Gutherson and you got Nathan Cleary as well that probably could have won it, but Jack Whiten hasn't had his best year this year, but I believe he's still the Raiders. For the Warriors, obviously got Reece Walsh, Matthew Lodge, you've got all those players, Peter Hickey as well. So, they are my key players. Now, going into the betting prices for this game, and, sports bet here in Australia, and the Warriors are $2.75, the Raiders are $1.75. And, now, look, on predictions now, who do you guys think is going to score anytime try scorer? And what is your score prediction for the game? And, obviously, Keith, you go first. How do you think the game's going to go? What's your prediction?
Yeah, it could go either way. And I think this is one of the harder games of the round to really judge who's going to win. I'll go with my head with this one. And I'm going to say the Raiders by 6. And just to stir the pot a bit, I'll say Havili to score a try from dummy half. In terms of the Warrior, I'm loving what Hiku's putting out. I love that he was disciplined enough to remain fit and do all the physio and the rehab to come back for this season at the end. Maybe he thought there was a World Cup on the line. Maybe that was part of his inspiration, but it just shows what a professional he is. So I'm going to go with anytime try scorer of Hiku. And look, obviously, I'd love for the Warriors to win, and I still hold a big amount of hope that we can. But if my house was on the line, I'm going to say the Raiders by 8. I think with Havili scoring a dummy half rollover try.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time Havili scored a try. He must be paying long odds. But
it'll be this weekend.
Sounds good. Yeah. Well, hopefully, hopefully not. Yeah.
I guess for me,
go ahead. What's your prediction?
For me, anytime try scorer. I'm going to go with form. Bailey Simonson. I think he's come back. I think he played against the Storm. He's definitely. I think at least he scored 2 there. Scored last week. I think teams rushing up on Whiten a lot more than they need to, and Simonson's kind of getting the rewards from that. I think he's definitely to score. I'm going to go with a Raiders win. Because we need to. I think there's some good evidence over the last 6 weeks that we actually are playing good footy. As said to Keith before the second half, the assault on the premiership's back on. Based on what I saw in the first half against Manly.
Book your airplane tickets.
I know. ScoMo's going to let me back in the country. ScoMo, if you're out there, you bumped me off 4 flights. Let me in. But I think Raiders have to win, and I think that's where the difference is. I don't know what the Warriors, their season was on the line last week, and even with the season on the line, they just couldn't get it done. So with the Raiders, we've played some really tough teams as well over the last few weeks, and been in it. I know Turbo was out last week, but we played the Storm. played. We started Parramatta's right, in my opinion. We've had, when we beat the teams we've had to beat, like the Sharks. So I think, Raiders to win, not by much. And it probably will turn out like the game in round 2 or 3, where Raiders come out strong, Warriors probably come back, but hopefully we don't have a lot of injuries, and hopefully Cody's forward passes get called. So those are my predictions.
Still holding on to that. But that was Ben Murdoch-Masilla's finest moment in a Warriors jersey, I think.
those forward passes from Cody, I'm still not over it, because what were the refs and that try that you guys got last week? That was not a try. Never in a million
Which one?
years. The simultaneous grounding that Coates got to first.
But overall, I think it's a bit of karma. There's no way the Warriors get the rub of the greens. Like, okay, there's occasional outliers like that, but the general consensus is that definitely not. But I agree, that was a massive forward pass when we last played the Raiders. I was happy to hold on to that one. What about you, Christian? Do you think we're a chance?
Yeah. Look, I think, it's a very hard one. It's a very hard game to call. I've looked at the team list closely, and had a look at it closely, and I think the Warriors are capable of pulling it off here. Really tip the Warriors here, but obviously, it's Raiders with their season on the line. It's very crucial for them to get the result, and I'm going to go and tip with my heart. Actually, I think we can get this up. I think we can get up and get this win. We've probably got nothing to lose now. There's complete. I know a lot of people are saying mathematically we could still make it. And results go away, but for me, I just don't see it happening. I don't see us making the 8. But if we can finish the season on a high, that'll be great. Moving on to the off season into next year. So I'm going to go with the Warriors to win 18-12, and anytime try scorers, I'm going to go with Reece Walsh. I think Reece Walsh, Masalo Montoya, and Adam Fanua-Blake to score tries. So those are my predictions for the game this coming weekend. But I'd like to quickly I'm going with the Warriors. Adam Fanua, a big bold call there. But I'd like to quickly thank Keith for coming on the channel, as well as is that right? Your name wrong? But thanks to those guys for coming on. But any last words?
Yeah, for me, I just love to see some resilience. There's 2 or 3 years. I'm going back a while now. Back in the even the Tony Iro sort of substitute coaching days, but there was a few years in a row there where we just lost 8, sometimes 9 of the last remaining games of the season, and it really had an impact on our next year. So I agree with what you said. It's so important that we end the season with momentum, but the odds of us making the 8 and everything falling our way, obviously that Sharks Broncos game, even if we do win, and the Knights beat the Titans on Thursday night. You're right. I just can't see it happening. I just want us to win. I just want to show that we are competitive with teams around the 8, and not just the the Cowboys, the Bulldogs, and the Tigers teams. Not that the Tigers aren't near the 8, but I want to see some heart. Is the main message for me.
Yeah, I think for me, the main thing I want to see is Sticky actually, and the team finish this game. We've had so many big leads and just capitulated, and I don't know what it is. I think it's fitness and maybe, to be honest, in this game, not the best bench in terms of rotation, but I'd like to see Josh Hodgson finish off the season really well. I think he's had a great sort of NRL run with us. Him and Whitehead have brought a different type of mentality. just in terms of multiple prelims, grand final. They've been key players. Their downturns have pretty much been a big part of why we haven't been as good this season. But if they can have one last big run for us, that would be what I'd be looking for. We just need big game from Hodjo, big end of the season from Hodjo, and I kind of want to also see our front row, like Papali and Tapani, just end the season strong as well. Like they've had, to be honest, all the players have had a fair bit going on off the field as well. But those guys have been in and out of the team. I think Tapani's had really good last few weeks, and if they can keep it up, like and actually put in for the next 3 weeks, we can be we'll match any team. It's just ultimately the halves are going to be the issue, but our forward pack keep us in there. And but yeah, you guys have got a fantastic forward pack, and if they don't fire along with White, and we're going to be in for a long night.
Yep. Yeah. So like I say, I'd like to thank as well as Lewis for coming on the channel. Any way you guys can anyway people can contact you guys, talk about footy and that social media, or is there any way people can know about footy and all that?
If anyone actually wants to see me talk footy, go on Keith's page, ERL, Everything Rugby League, and mention that you want to see more Raiders content.
Yep. All right. As for you, Keith, how can people get a hold of you and chat about the Warriors or chat about NRL, or how can people get a hold of you? Obviously, you got your pages there, the league as well. So any ways people can get a hold of you and talk about the game?
So I just broke up there. Was that a question for me, Fanatics?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
You can email me at keithwhitelock@everythingrugbyleague.com, or it's probably best to go through Twitter. It's pretty much the only social media that I'm on these days. I think it's just my name. I think it's Keith_Whitelock is my Twitter handle. But if it's not that one, just go through the Everything Rugby League main Twitter page, and a few of my articles are posted once a week. As I said, I only do the weekly international column these days.
Yep. All right. Yes. So the chance upcoming game this week, Warriors Raiders. Obviously, may the best team win. Obviously, me and Keith will be hoping for a Warriors win here, but may the best team win, and hopefully it should be a good game between both the Raiders. But thanks to both you guys for coming on the channel. Really appreciate you for giving up your time, coming on and chatting about the Warriors and the game coming up. So thanks guys for that, and make sure you don't forget as well to subscribe to the channel as well. Like the video, like the video, and comment your thoughts. Thought this would win, and I'll see you guys all soon for another video. Thanks guys for watching.